At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 971theticket.com.
The following is a paid program. The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed, filling in for Mr. Glantz. Look at this, Lisa Lawson.
Lawson, here I am.
The legendary Lisa Lawson, my
you
favorite
so much.
loan officer other than myself, of course. You know more about it than I do.
You're too sweet, and you're mine.
Well, thank you. You're definitely my right-hand girl. Lisa has so much knowledge of the mortgage industry. She's been around a very long time. But there's some people that have been around in real estate and in mortgages for a long time, and they're not always on the ball. They're like doing things the old-fashioned way and stuff. You're not.
Maybe they're part-timers. You know, they might have another job. You just never know. So sometimes it's just not their main focus. But that's okay. That's all I do. This is all I do.
Well, you brought in some passionate people here because Darcy Matlin. Darcy, no one is more passionate about real estate than you. I've had lots of real estate people I've spoken to, obviously.
I do love real estate. That is my word, passion. I feel passion for it.
All right. Well, Pepper Park Realty, of course, you keep expanding your office. I know you primarily work the Tri-County area, more specifically Oakland County.
Yes.
And you're building a team of young professionals that have integrity and honesty and all those great things.
Yes, that's what matters most to us. And we're building the team. It's really growing quickly, which is really fun. It's really fun to see.
Well,
Absolutely.
of course, times are great here in Southeast Michigan, across the United States. Is interest rates still, Lisa, basically historical lows?
Correct.
Although rates over the last year and a half have burped up a little bit to those unbelievable lows that we had in the past. The opportunities are still there. Just burp up a little bit.
That's perfect.
But mortgage rates ended actually flat yesterday, which is considering the big jobs report that came out. And usually when unemployment's really low and the economy's doing great, they start spiking up the interest rates a little bit.
But they've been pretty steady. It's a little bit unusual. Like we would expect to see a slight increase, but we haven't been. We've been holding steady. The feds are planning on not doing anything with the temp rate, so we expect them to kind of stay pretty steady for the next at least in the short term.
Yeah, we'll definitely be sort of on wait and see what happens here across the globe.
Well, Lisa always says the rates are not high now. Whenever I come to her and I say the rate, people are telling me the rates went up. My clients are. She says, no, this really is a low rate.
Correct.
So she's a good reminder for that because they might be higher than they once were, but the rates are still great.
They're higher than they might have been 3 years ago. You might not get a 3.25 or a 3.5, but over history, we're still at historical lows.
Yeah, that's a great point.
People should be taking advantage of that.
That's right. Of course, it goes. If you're buying a house, you only care about what's going on right now.
Right.
Correct.
We're going to take your calls all morning long here. 248-539-9797. Definitely diving into home purchases, really what's going on in the marketplace. We have some unbelievable information. You and I really went after it last night. And we started talking about the state of real estate and what's going on here, Southeast Michigan. There's no doubt what's relevant right now is the lack of inventory and that same overbidding and multiple bids on those great houses.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%. So you're losing, you're losing, 5 houses in a row. So what can you do different, to try to get that house, keep your, client calm, don't get discouraged, and then really win that bid. So that's really what we're doing. The market, there still is, still are more buyers than there are sellers.
Right.
So you get in first. We watch it every day. What's on the market. Okay, you call your client. Who's ready? And I've been going late. Like, all right, it's after dinner. Get your shoes on. So I'll call them. I say, listen, I'm wearing a hoodie. It's okay. I'm going to wear gym shoes and we're going to go. And they're fine because you want to get the offer in before the others. So Harvey and I were talking about.
Well, trust and confidence, because we were talking about that urgency. Yes. So it sort of starts right there. And we know at least that we don't have time. You don't really even have time to, like, if that's the house, we already know it's similar to the one you made an offer on you didn't get.
Right.
If you can do the electronic signature. So you've already have it where you can have your clients pre-sign.
Yes.
Get your offer in there.
Correct.
Just get it in there.
Yes.
If they accept your offer and for some reason you don't like the house, or it fails inspection, or you bring your mom and dad even before the inspector gets there and no one likes it, you can walk away.
You can walk away.
They can take the other 10 offers that they
Act
had.
now and then respond later. But what's funny is it's exactly right. Get the offer in, and it's not the old days, and it's a little sad, but it's not the old days where you go, I'm going to come in low. I'm going to come in $20,000 low. We're not doing that. So I'll even say, do you are you sure, you have a little room in your approval? Do you want to come in a little high?
Right.
And even if it's $2,000, because I have Lisa in my background, or I'll call her or text her, or just from what she's taught me, and I'll go like, it's only $30 more a month or whatever it is. Do you want to just offer? Because then you look like you're serious, but it's hard sometimes because the mentality is still there. Well, let's go in 5 and under. And I'm like, oh, not right now.
People don't understand that you may not get a second chance. It's not always highest and best.
Yes.
The sales price is $150 and you're coming in at $140 and they get an offer for $150 or $145. They're not calling you back saying, hey, do you want to change your mind? Are you sure that's what you want to do?
There's another guy coming right behind you. They're not calling you.
So it's super important when we offer these, we get these pre-approvals done.
Yes.
That people are being serious if they're really out there looking, if this is really the house for you, to make sure that you're putting your absolute best offer first time in.
Absolutely.
We talk about it. We're going to dive into the big word escalation clauses, okay? So if you're a real estate agent out there, and again, this might be one you turn up your radio. We don't give away all our secrets
This
today.
is a good secret we're sharing, though, so definitely get your pen and paper.
All right. Also, we're going to take your calls all morning long at 248-539-9797. We are always brought to you by our sponsors at Capital Mortgage Funding and powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That's our big corporation. And again, we're here to make sure that things go very smoothly for you. But if you don't get your offer accepted, and that's where we're going this morning with it, then you're not in the game. You're not in the negotiations. And what we're seeing is a family, if they're not educated and don't have the knowledge, and we talked about this last night, Darcy, now all of a sudden they didn't spend an extra $10,000, but now all the other houses all need kitchens.
That's right.
And it's $40,000 to $50,000 for that new kitchen, as Adam was just telling you, or it needs a new bathroom and the floors are there, that's the old school carpet. You have to really be knowledgeable on this. I think that's the key about, as we were talking last night, about making offers in real estate. You got to have like this unbelievable power team.
Right.
Mortgage knowledge, real estate knowledge.
Well, and that's what, and Harvey's amazing too, and everybody at Capital. Lisa and I don't know, we met doing a deal, and now we do all our deals together because we really are a team, and you said that exactly right. I go in, here's the house, I'll send it to Lisa right away, but Harvey and I were talking about like a situation with the escalation. So what happens is they want the house and they might have a little extra to spend, or Lisa knows that we're not offering the full amount. And people don't always want to spend everything that they're approved for, but it's a few dollars. When Lisa tells you what your monthly payment's going to be, it's really not that much more. So with escalation, we were saying we like break it down. So with escalation, you want to offer, the house is listed for $150, but there's more value in the home. And you've got $200 in your approval. So you offer, and there's a good chance it will appraise. So when you put your offer in, even if you go, I'm giving them the full amount, 140, 145, you can still offer 140, 150, 155, 157 with the escalation clause up to 5,000 higher, or rather 5,000 higher than your best offer, up to
X amount, right?
And so it's like eBay, I feel like. So you're already putting your like bid in. So when people come in to bid against you on the radio or the CD player, you're bidding against them already. And that's what happened. So we just, my client just scored a great house, which was I just ironically priced too low for the market anyway, or maybe not too low, but quite low. So there was tons of room and value. There were 20 cars in the driveway when we went for our showing, and we knew we had to go in with escalation.
And you got the offer accepted.
Oh, I mean, we were over asking, but there was still so much value left. Even the appraiser was like, there's tons of room left, even after. So, they paid 40 or 50 more, but it was worth the value. And the listing agent doesn't even bother with the other 7 offers.
They don't
because
care.
They already know you beat it.
You're going to be the best.
So that's the big tip that we gave away, one of our best secrets.
Having the knowledge of really what area you're buying in and what's going on in that neighborhood, and if you got to get out there and start looking at something so you have a good base of what's going on. And like you said, when I talked to you about it last night, you said, "Well, no, Harvey, they're gutting the thing anyways. It didn't even matter."
True.
Right.
So it didn't matter really, and the inspection isn't important at that point, because they have some money they're working with. They're going to gut things and start fresh.
That's not that common. I mean, a lot of people don't have that extra money, so it's nice to have. But what's funny, just to kind of sidebar, is when you're talking to a seller and they're like, well, I just want to redo my kitchen first before I sell it. And I always say, like, you really don't necessarily have to do that. An old friend of mine used to talk about, he sold a house and the next day, and they just redid the kitchen, and the seller drove by the next day, and the new buyer had all the new kitchen in the dumpster on the
Yeah, right. That's not a good feeling.
So that's your style.
Correct.
So don't always put that extra money in, but that was the whole point. So in this case, the home was not redone, but they were buying the area, the neighborhood for their kids, lake access. And so in that case, they knew they were redoing the kitchen. It didn't matter.
Right.
Somebody probably could have moved in as is. It was a little outdated, but I mean, we went in and, that escalation
Awesome.
saved us.
Yeah.
All right, 248-539-9797. We'll take all your calls all morning long. We got tons to share with you. There's something going on around Southeast Michigan, too, called a lot of water, a lot of flooding going on. That's right, flood insurance, how it works. We'll talk a little bit about that, too, when we get back in case that happened to you. 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to show 930. If you're just joining us, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Yeah, we're powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That's where you're going to save a lot of money. You're buying a house, get educated on the process, get a real approval letter, deal with the pros. Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Also, take your calls here live in the studio, 248-539-9797. Always talking real estate, mortgages, a lot of great things going out there. In March, the first-time home buyers made up 33%. This is humongous. 33% of the existing home sales in March were all the first-time home buyers out there. I actually have new neighbors, and I don't know when they're going to come out and do their introduction. I'm willing to bring over the tray of cookies and brownies.
You got to take over the apple pie.
What about the pie? Something. I said, hey, look, guys, if you haven't set up the garbage thing, you can put your garbage here. It's Tuesday's garbage. I did make them an offer.
You're going to be a nice neighbor, Harvey. You're
a nice
good neighbor.
Hey, let's roll off to a call here. We'll go back to our conversation. Kevin from Ypsilanti. Good morning, Kevin. Welcome to the show.
Hey, I have a question. If I was to go and see how much I qualify for a loan, does that affect my credit score when I'm trying to?
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, you can run a mortgage credit report, the Real McCoy, and that does nothing to affect your credit score in a negative way. You're able to. The deal is you can run those as many as you want up to like 30 days.
Within 30 days.
Within 30 days. So
you don't want to shop around to 15 different people. It's
Exactly.
just you have to explain each inquiry that you have on your credit report when you go to apply for a mortgage. So you got to make sure you just don't shop. Get yourself with 1-2 reputable people, and then make sure they're giving you the facts, what your credit score is, and then when you shop around to the other people, just let them know. Here's what my credit score is from the 3 scores from the other companies. What can you get me? And that's the best way to move forward. But yeah, it's not going to hurt you like Harvey said, it's not going to hurt you the first, second, third time. But don't go hog wild.
Exactly. My next question: Do you always have to, or is it better to put 20% down on a home?
Well, not at all. In fact, you can purchase homes with 0 down. So the rural development loans, USDA loans, are 0 down in those areas. And you can consider something like that. VA, of course, 0 down. Now, FHA is 3.5% down. Yeah. But there's plenty of conventional programs at 3% down. So, several low down payment programs out there. It's always nice to have 20% down. But nowadays, with so much debt out there, and, of course, the generation that went through college recently and coming out of college now, they're buried in college debt. So they don't have a lot of cash on hands. Kevin, it's a first-time home buyer. Are you renting now?
Yes.
And you've been saving some money up to purchase your house. Where are you at with that savings?
Saving, I'm up to probably about 14.
Oh, you got plenty of money to purchase a house. Give me an idea. What are you paying in rent right now?
7-something.
Okay.
770. Yeah.
I'll tell you this: owning a house for about $1,000 a month is like renting for $750 with the tax deduction. I think your time, if you want to take.
Park's Gay Day before the Tigers take on the Royals through Sunday. There's fun in every one. Get tickets for any Tigers home game at Tigers.com.
The only way you can take 97.1 The Ticket with you is the Radio.com app. Download it today and listen to us anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by the LaFontaine Automotive Group, the family deal.
97.1 The Ticket.
Welcome back to the show, 9:15. If you're just joining us, it's another version of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Well, kick it up. 248-539-97. Wake up here in Southeast Michigan. What else, Lise? What do you got for the weekend? Anything really exciting?
Cinco de Mayo.
That is tomorrow, right? Hey, you know what's my sister's birthday too? I forgot there. She's in Arizona. She'll
And
never
I think
listen.
there's a Kentucky Derby, and I believe today is what, the 4th Be With You?
Oh, there's all that
big
great
Star
stuff.
Wars. This is a huge
This
weekend.
is a really big weekend.
All right,
Yeah,
and some
big
Tiger
party in
baseball.
Metro.
Also, Tiger baseball
Oh, that's
later this
right, yeah,
afternoon.
yeah.
Keep it here. Of course, it's going to be real exciting as the Tigers try to take another one. They're local too, by the way. If you want to get down to the ballpark, 248-539-9797.
They're local in Detroit.
Right before we went to the break, we started talking about flood insurance because it comes up all the time. And when I was first in the industry, Lise, sure enough, I'm doing this loan way back in the day in Dearborn Heights, and the flood cert came back, and here's the process. They're telling me, Harvey, this house is in a flood zone, and the family's already tight on money. It's a starter home, and yeah, folks, there's some weird flood insurance flood zones across the United States, and more importantly here in Michigan. And that's why you get the flood. You can only get flood insurance if you're in the flood zone.
And the flood zone is determined by FEMA.
Yes.
Now everyone's like, well, who determines who the flood zone is?
Right. They're like, oh, my basement flooded.
Right. That's different.
Right.
Usually.
Yes.
Usually the basement's just like a basement flooding or some pump failure or, sewer backup. Those are not usually flood zone issues. The flood, and everyone assumes that the flood zone is by a coast of some kind. If you're on a lake or
Not always.
That is completely not true because there, like you said, there are flood zones in Dearborn.
Right.
One of my first loans I closed was a house on a dead end street and completely encompassed by houses and in the middle of a flood zone because the floodplain was high.
Yes.
So people get a little confused, but you can only get flood insurance if you are in a flood zone. You cannot get flood insurance if you're not, but you can get sewer backup and other types of riders on your homeowner's
So do you
policy.
get flood certs for most of your loans?
Every
Everyone.
single loan.
So perfect.
Everyone does.
Because on the purchase agreement, it asks right away, and it's a hard thing to know, in preparation. So you can put a number, but it's always nice to be able to, do an addendum.
And usually on the seller's disclosure. So if you're looking at homes and you aren't sure, or you're like, 'cause it's not always in a listing. Like, hey, we're in a flood zone. Some people don't want to brag
don't want
about
to advertise that.
Yeah, people aren't bragging about that. But if you ask for the disclosures, the seller needs to indicate if he has knowledge he's in a flood zone or not. Okay.
And then another thing I'll throw up. No, I don't want to cut you off there. But the other thing with the flood zone, as we give a little bit more information about that, is also if you've already paid off your house, you still, it doesn't matter. You don't have a lien on it, so you have to realize that you might have lost flood insurance.
Correct.
Also, those flood maps change
all the time,
and they change all the time. So you can always take a look. Again, home ownership. It's just another angle on why home ownership's for the very responsible people.
For sure.
But you got to have a plan. If you're just going to wing it, if you're not going to save for future repairs, you're going to be in trouble down the road.
Well, speaking to a flood insurance, just one more quick point. Sometimes I had someone, for example, buy this in a very large 10-acre parcel, and one little back corner, not even a quarter of an acre, was zoned in a flood zone, which means the whole property gets classified as flood zone. But there really wasn't a necessary flood policy, so we actually had an elevation survey done to show that the home was nowhere near the possibility of being flooded or being in danger of flooding, and we were able to remove that insurance. So if you work with an educated loan officer who understands...
And that's what I do?
Yes, thank you. That understands all the ins and outs of that. You want to make sure that you're making the best decision for them and protecting them if it's required, but, paying, $1,500 a year for flood insurance when your home is nowhere close to possibly being flooded, that's just silly. So we tried to save them some bucks.
It's funny you said that FEMA kind of dictates where it is because I recently have been dealing with the wetland issue.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so funny because wetlands can be redistributed.
Correct.
So you don't think of it like, this is actually a wet land. It's not like that. We needed that one, so we shipped it over here.
Right.
So it's just an interesting thing. So many different things, but when your loan officer knows about it, it's because we can't know everything.
Right.
And we find ourselves feeding off each other
all the time.
Now, with each situation because everyone's different.
Every single one is different. You should be able to identify them and evaluate them one-on-one.
Yeah, the best teams definitely have good communication and great loan officers giving information with the real estate agent. Sharing information is the key. The knowledge gives you the power, gives you the confidence, and all that good stuff. Getting organized on your purchase is one thing that I also like to talk about. One of the things that families, they talk about the olden days. Well, my dad told me if I couldn't afford it, I'm going to use cash. Well, nowadays, to exist in society, you have to have some form of credit. If you want to go rent a car on vacation, you need a credit card. If you're making family plans, you need credit cards.
100%.
Now, we're not telling families when they establish this credit, we're not telling you to jam it all up to $5,000 to $10,000 and then just pay the minimum interest on it.
No. And pay that $40 minimum forever.
We're talking about building credit up, and it's a good start for everyone. It's part of getting your credit score up. So if you had some bad credit, establishing a couple brand new lines of credit that you pay on monthly.
Correct.
You pay them off down to zero. These are things that you can do to really get organized for your transaction.
Yes.
Buying stuff that you're going to pay for anyways, your dinner, your gas,
Yes.
miscellaneous gifts for family members. These are great ways to start building your credit
Or
up.
like you say, pick that one credit card for your restaurants and
Right.
that, and then you're always paying on that. Like you said, you were going to pay it anyway. But as far as your credit report shows, it's just a regular on-time payment.
Correct.
And Lisa's great about that. I know I keep raving about her, and Harvey too. I just
I'll rave about her, don't worry.
We've had situations where
Right.
people really don't think they can be approved, or maybe they can't be. What I always say is Lisa's the wizard. Everyone I know knows her as this. This is what they refer to her as now. But what happens is you call her and here's my mess or here's my situation, and Lisa's not saying, well, I can't close you now, take care. She literally almost puts them in her own version of credit counseling. And I've had 2 deals go through because Lisa tells them how to get on track. But my favorite was the other day we had one, and they were sure. They took 6 months to call her because they just knew they would not get approved. They've been renting. I found the rentals. And Lisa's like, I have a pre-approval. I was like, pardon me? Because they totally were approvable.
They absolutely were
which is so
approvable.
great because people don't know. And that's what's great about, your company is that it's not just about right now, let's get it done. There's a process, and we're going to teach you, and like you say, the organization.
The key is that the clients themselves say, hey, you know what? I'm ready to make this move. I'm going to become a homeowner. But what can I do now? What can I do right now here in May, at the beginning of May, if I'm thinking about even at the end of summer, if I'm going to be a buyer at the end of summer, if your lease isn't up, let's say, till the fall or the winter, there's things you can do.
Yeah, my favorite thing is if you think you want to start looking for a home, call me 6 months prior.
Yes.
Please call me 6 months prior.
And
If
it
you
might
think
not
you're gonna-
always take 6 months, depending on, what we all have a past and whatever's
Absolutely.
happened. But
This
Lisa will get
allows
you
me
there.
the time
Yes.
to not only possibly fix any credit issues, or we can maximize your score. Part of understanding credit is that there is not only the utilization of credit. Some people don't have a high score because they really don't have credit.
Yes.
A car loan isn't the same. An installment loan isn't the same. People will be like, I opened up this line. My credit union said it's going to help me build credit. Why isn't my score going up? Why did it only go up 4 points? Because revolving credit is 65% of your score, and you're not participating in any of it. It's 65%, and you're not participating. So learning how credit works and making the correct decisions to maximize your score in the least amount of time.
Well, how many times have we had people say, well, I'm going to pay off that one, and Lisa's like,
No,
stop,
don't
pay it off. So I always say, don't touch anything until you talk to Lisa, because she'll tell you which one to pay down, which one to pay off, which one don't even worry about.
Right.
And also something that you and I
And
come
to
across
use your
a lot.
money wisely. If you have $4,000 to pay off debt or whatever the situation may be, or $1,000, I want the most bang for the buck.
Yes,
that
she'll
I
tell
can
you
get.
which one. Don't put it here, even though that's your
Right.
cutest one and you always wanted to get rid of that one. You have to keep that one because this one will benefit you more. But what we've been coming across is student loans as well.
Correct.
You've taught me that it's not as scary. Because
Correct.
everybody has some type of student loan, or many people, I should say. And you said that it's really not that scary, and that you are approvable with student loans.
Yes, everyone has this idea that I have $8,000 in student loans or $80,000 in student loans that I can't get approved, and that is not the case.
Exactly right.
That's so.
And don't always pay off those collection accounts. We'll
Correct.
definitely talk on all that stuff. 248-539-9797. We've got phone lines that are open all morning long here. Love to hear from you. Let's dive back into real estate a little bit. Always what's relevant in today's market. I think the markets are consistently changing, no matter if you're here in California, anywhere across the United States. We live in this amazing area of diversity. Not only are we diverse in our people, but we're diverse in our neighborhoods, the styles of home, whether you want acreage, whether you want to be able to walk to a downtown area.
Right.
We have so much to choose from if you want to be on a golf course, on a lake.
You're so right.
It's like nothing like anywhere else in the United States. That we have all this diversity here, which makes it such a great place. New homes, old homes.
Yes.
And you can, again, find out how you can, get your little piece of the pie, I guess, of the American dream here. But the key is I've had so many first-time home buyers starting to call me up as spring rolled around, is try to explain that if you're already paying this rent, $1,100, $1,200, $1,400, how it sort of translates into a house payment and how much you might be able to comfortably afford. This
Or
is
sometimes
really good stuff.
save.
Oh, definitely.
I've gotten people into homes that are paying $1,500 a month in rent. They found their dream home and their new payment's $1,300.
It's
I
the
just
best.
saved them $200.
That's the best.
Yep, $200 a month, and you own your home now, and you're establishing equity. So sometimes buying a home is actually going to increase your cash flow. People have this idea that it's always going to be more expensive, and that is absolutely not the case. Rent is really high right now.
Really high. Really high. In fact, one of the deals Lisa and I are working on, just because it's taking a while to find, because the market is, so it's tough right now. It's a beautiful market, but there's just not quite enough houses for the buyers. And one of our clients, we have a mutual client, and their husband started looking at rentals, and her mortgage payment will probably be $1,300 a month, and the homes that he's looking to rent that are in the same, with the same similarities are $2,400, $2,300. If we just find her one, which we will, Lisa's going to save her $1,000 a month.
Right.
So that's, that's what the market's doing.
Right.
That's what you say, the rental
Rents
versus.
are really high right now.
Yeah, it's tough to be a renter out there. And again, if you are currently renting, if you're planning on being around a while, if you're not necessarily moving, we usually think the idea is that you have to stay put for at least 3 years to break even on it. But you never know. Sometimes you can buy a house and flip it a year later and make a lot of money.
I was going to say every scenario is different, but you're absolutely right. I don't think there's really a minimum anymore.
All right. When we come back, we're going to get to all your calls. 248-539-9797. Keep it here.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Harry Glantz.
Morning, Harv. How you doing today?
Fantastic here, April 27, 2019. We're going to give you 1 hour of the Mortgage Show. Of course, here we got brought in John Cole from our office. Hey, John, what's happening?
What's up, guys? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you, John. Of course, you're bringing some talented people. Here we got Noel Heidemann from the Max Brook Birmingham office. Hey, Noel, what's going on?
Good morning. How you doing?
Fantastic. Great to have you here, Noel. Yes, we did together share a closing a couple weeks ago. That's right. You're on the listing side. I showed up to see the buyers, and not too bad, right, Noel?
You guys are still talking.
We're still friends. We're in the same room together.
Harvey's maturing.
We're going to get back to Noel being an expert on septic fields. We'll get into that later. There's a lot of those. Hey, look who's here. Mike Tomchak, Paramount Appraisals. How's it going, Mike?
Oh, great to be back, boys. It's been too long.
Top 3 of my favorite guests on the show over the last 19 years. He's in the top 3. I know he's mad at me because I didn't say he's the top 1.
That's right.
He's the
I
top
am,
3.
actually.
I know you are. So everybody out there, you have to tune in, okay? Ladies, gentlemen, we have a real estate expert, Noel Heidemann, and we have the appraiser, I would say, of the decade at least, that's going to share. We're going to share some important information and facts that are things that are happening in the market. Harvey, John, and I are going to tell you, and you know this, if you're in your car right now, going around shopping, looking at neighborhoods, the market is on fire. Mike Tomchak, he can't even do as many appraisals as the market is asking for him. Isn't that correct, Mike?
That is absolutely correct. Turning down about 3, 4, sometimes even 5 a week right now.
And that's how hot the market is. And Noel's going to talk about where the market, he thinks, in the next 90 to 120 days, prime selling season is going to go. But I would be remiss if I didn't bring up a story from Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
And we talk about this because somebody has to be the voice of the reason, but the market is the market. All right, the market is the market. And we always say that if you want to buy a house and you overbid, that's okay. That's your business. If that's where you want to be. And I have no problem with that. So we had a situation. We're going to start out throwing 95 out of the bullpen. We're going to bring it up to 100 right now. So, Mike Tomchak, I ask you, I have a client. Client's a great client, a relo from a different part of the country, Nashville, Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah, I know they're not the same. No. All right, so they're moving in from Tennessee, and they give us a call. We take care of them, and the appraiser goes out to the house, and the house is in Detroit, between 7 and 8 Mile Road.
Baseball today right here in the ticket. 4:10 from Comerica Park. Tigers in KC with Tyson Ross pitching for the Tigers. Now 13-14 winners last night, 4-3. Matt Boyd was money. 7 innings. He struck out 9. Shane Green gets his 13th save. NBA playoffs, Milwaukee and Portland both with 2-1 leads. Portland in outstanding fashion. 4 overtimes, 140-137 over Denver. Milwaukee beating Boston 123-116 at Boston. NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, Carolina sweeping out the Islanders. They win in 4 straight, winning last night 5-2. Dallas up 3-2 in St. Louis with a 2-1 victory last night. Mud expected at the Kentucky Derby today, meaning it's just about anyone's race in the heavy rain. And Jason Duffin, a leader by 1 chap through 2 rounds of the Wells Fargo. Rory McIlroy 5 back. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 97.1theticket.com.
The only way you can take 97.1 The Ticket with you is the radio.com app. Download it today and listen to us anytime, anywhere.
97.1 The Ticket.
Welcome back to the show, 9:30. If you're just joining us, another version of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Finance. You can find Lisa and myself all week long. I know Ronnie Jacobs is in the office along with a full staff all weekend long. Ronnie's
He's there
texting
right
everybody.
now.
Call us at Capital Mortgage, 1-800 Low Rate, the best mortgage banker. We take your calls here live in the studio, always at 248-539-9797. Love talking mortgages and real estate. Yes, folks, if you find it a little boring, well, then you don't understand it. So give your professional a phone call and find out more about it. It's always been so much fun, and home ownership should be fun. I actually been bringing it up recently to a couple clients. I said, hey, look, you're already signing your name here on 200,000, 300,000. Why not enjoy the process a little bit and make it something fun? Again, the knowledge gives you that confidence, which makes everything fun. But moving forward here, talking about a couple of things doing due diligence, Lise. Home inspections. Again, what's going on out there with the flooding across Southeast Michigan? You don't know. There's going to be a water line in these houses. These sellers' disclosures are filled out. However, you truly have to gain your knowledge bank of the area, what might have transpired in the home over the years.
Right.
All of these homes, I hate to say it, we live in Michigan. It's a little funky here. It's 150 degrees in your attic in the summer.
Yeah.
It's freezing in the winter. We talked about
sometimes it's 2 days apart.
It's in the same day, right? But yeah, there are things like mold that pop up, but not all mold is bad. So having that great home inspector sort of can tell you, look, there's some issue here, but it's not a deal killer.
Right. Sometimes it's easily fixable. Something that only might take a couple $100. Most sellers are usually willing to repair. Also, once they have knowledge of the issue, they have to disclose it. So usually, if it's a very small, if it's a very small, quick fix, a lot of times it's not near as dramatic as.
Well, so Lisa and I actually have dealt with a couple recently again. And that's something that I actually 3 in a row in the past, I would say, month or so have come up with mold. And so the first time it happened, it's scary for the agent to hear. You go, oh, the deal's dead, and
it's not black mold necessarily.
But even if it is, everything is fixable now. It's not always a couple $100s.
Right.
But a lot of times the sellers are willing to do it. First of all, it's nice to know that they've been living in an unhealthy place, and maybe that's why they haven't been feeling well. I've had 2 of those situations. The family dog was ill.
And they couldn't quite figure it out. And
somebody came to the vet and said, your dog for sure has, it was a year. Your dog for sure has a mold rash, or this person had pneumonia. So it's good to also know if you're not feeling well, that could be something in your house.
We recently had someone with an inspection that had no foundation under the house. No joke. That inspection's going to save you.
Yes.
Obviously, you don't want to buy a house without a foundation. That's like critical.
It was just built right on the dirt.
It was correct. It was literally like no footings, no anything. Yes. So, everyone's like, do I really need an inspection? It's like $400, $500, $300, whatever the fee may be.
Right,
and I'm
if
like,
you do one thing for yourself.
Absolutely. Do yourself a favor and get a home inspection.
Well, we also talk about these sewer line inspections. Again, any of the older communities around here, these homes might have been built in the 50s or 60s. So the tree roots and everything have gotten in these sewer lines. That's a more expensive repair. Again, if you see a backhoe on your neighbor's property, that means everyone in the neighborhood's probably going to have an issue soon, or whoever hasn't repaired their sewer lines. But then we're also seeing it on the other side, septic fields.
Oh my goodness!
Again, if this house is something you're looking at, it was built in the 70s, a septic field could be rotting away, the pipes, the clay.
But even if they're not in use,
could be failing. Yeah,
if they're not in use, that's it. Because there was a lawsuit recently because they didn't disclose that there was a septic tank, even though it wasn't in use. So do make sure if you know of a septic tank, just to mention it. But it's true, and then to not have that inspected. You don't know. Just because I said I cleaned it, you know what I mean? You might want to.
From inspections, from even taking a heating and cooling inspection, a water system, a sewer line, you got screens to look out for, peeling paint.
Absolutely.
If you're thinking about selling your house, and it's right now, it's not gorgeous enough where you're going to have that family picnic this weekend, go out there and start sanding off the peeling paint. 100%. Consider throwing some primer on there. Now, whether you're going to sell the house this year, next year, or in the future, save your own structure. You don't want to have exposed wood, especially in Michigan.
Or have your friend come over because, you start to become blind, right, to the things that you
really,
see.
really good
have someone
tip.
come over and say, listen, what do you see? You won't hurt my feelings because it's personal. You live there and you don't want to but you won't hurt my feelings. What do you see?
It's also a good thing to have your friend come over if you're going to list it and be like, what do you think I could get rid of? Let me declutter. Because you do become blind to things that are in your environment every day. So not only are the things that need to get fixed, I'm going to list it. Is there anything you think you'd remove? Should I get rid? You'd be surprised. Your friends would be like, great, I've always thought that chair made that corner look terrible. Yes. You know what I mean? It's not personal,
it's like
but you're
unstaging, right?
Right. You want the most bang for your buck. You also want to get the most for your house. So sometimes taking a little tiny criticism to heart and implementing those changes can help you make more money.
It's true.
All right, we're going to take some calls here. here, 248-539-9797. We definitely want to hear from you. What's important in a home purchase? There's a lot of good things going on out there. New construction starting to pick up across Southeast Michigan. You're starting to see some of these vacant parcels are being bought up by some of the builders that we know. Some new builders are in the game. But what's interesting about new construction is it's gotten a little costly here, but still relatively inexpensive in Michigan. Land acquisition costs the builders a little bit more as land costs have gone up across Southeast Michigan. Labor has been the big nemesis for any of the builders out there.
Skilled labor.
Not only finding the guys to do the job, but quality work out there.
Right.
You can. I don't care what the name of the builder is. I'm not going to throw advertise for any of them on this one, but there's no doubt. I don't care what the name of the builder is. Big time, great builder, big name. They're only as good as the rough carpenter that comes to the house,
question.
that plumber they hire,
Absolutely.
the electrician.
You're so right.
Whoever put the floors in. You're only as good as your trades out there. I'm glad that a lot of builders are patting themselves on the back. What they should be doing is saluting
all their guys,
all the hardworking people that go out there.
Their team.
But continued growth we see in new construction here, but it's tempered across Southeast Michigan. I don't think we're going to see that crazy spurt we had in the early 2000s, and it was really detrimental to home appreciation. And we saw it more so in certain areas. I don't want to throw any specific area, but let's just say Macomb, for example.
Oh, you can throw us under the bus. I live there. It's okay.
But there's no doubt, Lise.
I built my home new construction and closed in 2000. So I do this for a living.
Is it the same house you're in?
Same house I'm in now.
But what happened was then just a mile away from you, then they built a whole new brand new subdivision.
Correct.
So all of a sudden, I could buy that subdivision a mile away, and I could get a brand new one.
Not even a mile away. It's usually literally like the next street over.
But that has changed because of so much growth out there.
There is. So it was funny because when my husband and I built our house, there was like 6 homes, and then construction ceased because everything crashed.
Yes.
So we had this completely empty and barren subdivision and 4 houses or 6 houses. It was ridiculous. And then all of a sudden things picked up, and then they had to expand our subdivision. Then they built a sister subdivision literally right next door, and now there's a third sister subdivision right next to that one. And now we're like all packed in there like sardines again. So
and those are all completed now?
All completed, a couple years ago. I think the last one was done. So your construction is definitely picking up.
Yes.
But you're right. Why buy a house that's been lived in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years when you can get a brand new one exactly how you want it?
And even on the multi-list, you'll see the spec.
Yeah.
And you can go right there, and then you get to choose. And price-wise, you get to choose your furnishings.
Right.
So you go, I want the fresh house, but I don't have to go top of the line yet.
Right.
I can do that a little later.
Yeah, the spec homes, you get to pick your counters and your flooring. And
you decide how much you're spending.
Right. Absolutely.
It's a good,
it's a definitely a great option.
Yeah, and like you said, you don't have to necessarily renovate a home. So now you're looking at those dollars and saying, maybe we are better off if we spent $30,000 or $50,000 more. Let's say it's $200 to $250 more out of your pocket. But with your money you're working at, the lifestyle you want to live, you have to make those decisions. Again, is it worthy of the commute to work? These are the things that are important. What's important in your life? What is really important in your life? Is it the school districts? Can you walk to the downtown area? Whatever's important in your life, make sure you find that place and go live there. Why not and enjoy a little bit?
It should make you happy.
It's absolutely. And in Michigan, you really there's so many choices.
Yeah.
Do I want a lake? Do I want, and there's such great schools. Which one do I want to be near?
Right.
So
great downtown
great
areas that you can live in, even this downtown Detroit. There's a lot of different options. So I always tell people, is that what's going to make you happy?
Yes.
If you want to live out in the country on 30 acres that you got to mow,
too.
that makes you happy. You do you.
That's right. Make your wish list.
Correct.
And then we just try to check off as many as we can. Right. We try to tick off as many of those.
And then you call Darcy, and she'll find you the perfect home.
And then Lisa gets you, ready to get into the home.
Right.
It's true though. It's true. And back to what you're saying with the preparedness of that, is getting the pre-approval first. And I know it's so basic to people who have been doing it a lot.
Yes.
But the first time home buyer, they want to start shopping. And I just dealt with that last week, and you want to start shopping.
Yeah.
And they want to put an offer in. And I'm like, okay. And I found them an accident. I didn't know their story yet. And they were not pre-approved. And so that's a hard one.
That's a tough question sometimes they ask. Again, like you said, everyone wants to, make their money in their industry. But the truth is, the professionals are willing to ask the tougher questions. Whether you're listing a house and you're willing to go a little bit deeper into it and say, look, folks, I know you want, what are you going to just sign up with someone who gives you the highest number?
Yes,
that could be a catastrophe.
Yes.
That house may never sell and get stuck on the market.
And that's not that exciting. When the house has been on there for 400 days, people start to go, why is this
What's
house?
wrong?
Especially in this market when they are selling so quickly. Not everything sells so quickly, but most do. I mean, there's 5 bids for one home. So you do, want to know why is
what's
it sitting?
happening and why is it still sitting?
I would say at least 80% of the time it's because it's overpriced. What we're finding is a lot of times they're marketing it as a 3-bedroom. and it's only a 2-bedroom with a loft and a curtain.
Okay.
And so there are guidelines which determine what an actual bedroom is: closet, egress window, door. And so we saw a house the other day that had a curtain. So little baby Blue can't go into the, the new baby can't go into the curtain room and wake the toddler next. So that's what we're coming up. Also, half bath. My favorite one was when we walked down the basement. We were like, where is this half bath? And literally there was a toilet in the middle of the basement.
That's not quite a half bath.
That doesn't count.
Wait a minute, no sink?
No curtain.
You gotta have a mirror in there.
Just a toilet.
All right, we're up against a quick little break here. Have some fun. Come on back with us. 248-539-9797. We'll talk about more real estate and mortgages right when we come back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Morning, welcome back. Here we are. 9:16. If you just joined us, a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, again brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. That's where you can find us all week long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. And take all your calls here at 248-539-9797. Got a great show already warming up here. We're talking about appraisals. Congratulations, though, to everyone out there who's taking advantage of these low interest rates. Again, there's been a little bit of a downturn over the last month or so. Find out if you can save money. Call Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, and get your new low rate. Again, whether you're doing debt consolidation, doing those home renovations, or just looking to lower your interest rate and lower the amount of years you have left, lower that term on your mortgage, call Capital.
Yeah, and Harvey, what do we say? Rates aren't going down to zero. All right, so if you're waiting and you think rates are going to go down substantially more, they'll go down a half a point, another point, it's not going to happen. Do what you have to do. Pay off the toxic debt, pay off the credit cards, take care of some home improvements. Go ahead and take advantage of the situation that is going on right now, because a year from now, you don't know what rates are going to do. We don't. If anybody tells you they know what rates are going to do, you have to run away from those people.
No,
you really do.
We tested the water in the threes, like 3.99 for like 3 days. And then they went back up. They evened out. You're talking 4, 4.25, 4.5. Depending upon the program that you're getting into.
John, in December, rates were at 5.25.
100%.
Okay, you have to stop thinking that you're going to go ahead and beat the market. Right. All right, because if you think they're going to go down 1/8, 3/8, 1/2, they're going to go up faster than they go down. Okay, you got to stop.
Yeah, take advantage of it. Make your call again, either to Capital, call your mortgage professional, but definitely find out what you can do to save a lot of money. You guys are really entrenched. We sort of dove into the appraisal thing right away, which is really what goes on.
They're over here drooling, Harvey. They're over here drooling to get back to it.
They're ready to go after it.
I'm going to tell you why.
What can go wrong with a mortgage guy, a real estate guy, and an appraiser in a room?
Wait a minute.
Like a joke.
It's a hot topic. It's a hot topic because the market is hot right now. And when you get an appraiser out there that says, hey, wait a minute, guys.
Including DTV fee extra and subject to change. After term, regular rates apply.
Attention, all licensed EMTs. Community EMS has a training opportunity for you to become a licensed paramedic for free in about 1 year. They will offer free paramedic training for employed EMTs, plus get paid paramedic wages while attending paramedic class. Paramedics are always in demand, and advancing your licensure means new opportunities. For more information, call 248-302-8128 or go to emsemployment.net. Equal Opportunity Employer.
The Detroit Tigers host the Kansas City Royals. Pre-game today at 3:45 on 97.1 The Ticket.
Alrighty, welcome back to the show, 9:44. If you're just joining us, it's not going to be the best day, but I'll tell you, if it's dry out there, we'll take it. A little bit gorgeous tomorrow, 70 and some sun coming out, so get out there and enjoy.
And perfection tomorrow.
Great. We got that ball game downtown, of course, tonight. It starts a little bit in the afternoon here, 3:45 game time. And Jim Price will be coming back in the seat to sit there with Dan Dickerson. I love listening to Tiger baseball. I don't care what they're doing out there, but welcome back to Jim Price if he's back in the seat today for sure. Keep it here on 97.1 all day long. And call Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Again, we always have different agents on.
Yes.
And, of course, the theme is that
that you have to be prepared and organized. Absolutely. But so often, these guys say, "Oh, I got a pre-approval already, Harvey." And so often I ask them, "Well, did you submit any of your documentation to the lender?"
Right.
It's like 95% or so that say no.
It's true.
And I constantly am still asking, well, I don't understand. How can you have a pre-approval letter? Right. And some of the people that we even know in this industry, I won't throw anyone under the bus today. I might in the future.
Maybe later.
But I went to an owner recently. I said, hey, man, how is your company giving an approval letter to this guy? He came in and saw me, and he hasn't even finished his 18 taxes. Oh. And this was about 2 months ago. Well, sure enough, he did them. And his 17 taxes, just so you know, were minus $12,000. And he, sure enough, had an approval letter in his hand from an institution. So what's going on out there, Lisa? And we see this with agents. They're going to make that phone call to us. A good listing agent, I have no problem with it.
I love it.
Call
you got one the other day.
I love it.
They'll say, hey, you know what, guys? I got your approval letter here, Harvey. Lisa, I got your approval letter here. Tell me a little bit more. I think that's a professional listing agent.
Yes.
100%. I agree. And I think actually everyone, if they can, should be doing it.
It's true.
You know, especially when you can input information in a computer at another company, I won't say who, and they can spit out and print their own approval.
Yes.
They don't even need to talk to anybody.
Automated,
just an automated system.
But it's just a hopeful guess.
It's a hopeful guess.
And then when you're in the moment,
it doesn't work out.
Right.
So recently, I had a phone call saying, can I save this deal? What can I do? Can I save it? Can I save it? And I said, well, I don't know anything about it, but, start at the beginning. And in essence, they put in an offer using one of those automated spit out approvals.
Yes.
The person was self-employed. They said they made $10,000 a month, but really they made $1,400 a month after all their write-offs.
Oh, that's like a little different.
So, they put down what they gross, what they think, what they bring in without taking into consideration all the expenses that they had written off. So unfortunately, when it's something like that, I can't magically make more money that you've already not
That's
reported.
why I really appreciate that you guys,
we take the documents, we review them, we make sure.
But the automated is you can do it in the middle of the night, but you guys work all hours.
Pretty much.
So there's only a few hours overnight that you cannot get there. I mean, you don't know how late I text Lisa, and half the time she's still at the office.
Ditto.
I mean, my rule is if I'm sleeping for those 6 hours, I cannot respond to my sleep. I wish I could, though.
That's what, otherwise,
I'll lay in my bed and text you. Oh, for sure, 100%.
And she will respond first thing in the morning.
Or if we're awake, we do it.
We respond.
But that's what's so great. You don't need to do that online because you may as well. But I will say, like Harvey said, they're not submitting the paperwork.
They don't know,
because they have the pre-approval. We will do everything for you. Lisa and I and Harvey, we will do as much customer service as we can do for you. But you do have to gather those documents. And nobody wants to go through their files. But you do have to grab your W-2s and whatever's required.
I'm going to dive a little bit into refinancing, of course, capital mortgage funding, and whether you're purchasing a house or refinancing. Just throw this out there again. Some families don't even understand how to release the equity, or if they just got to the point where they finally have some equity in their house, like you just can't grab it all. But you can on certain loans. So just to throw it out there, Lisa, of course, we offer complete 100% cash out refinances on VA loans.
Absolutely.
Where a lot of lenders across the United States aren't willing to do that. Again, if you're a veteran out there, if you have that VA loan, or if you even didn't use your VA eligibility the first time, you could use it again. But if you didn't use it the first time, you could do that cash out refinance up to 100%. Now, we don't suggest it for everybody, but we suggest it if you need the funds, and you're going to take advantage of it. You're going to consolidate your debt. You can consolidate student loans or do those home improvements.
I recently had a vet who used the cash out to make his home handicap and wheelchair accessible.
Wonderful.
Because you have, that costs money. And sometimes if you don't have that saved, using the equity in the home, since the improvements are going to go back into the home, worked for him. So there's different reasons to do it. Some people, debt consolidation. Some people, like you said, pay off student loans. Some people, need to make improvements on the home, make a repair on the home. There's all different kinds of reasons. Sometimes people do it for cash flow. I have someone called me the other day and said, look, I'm looking to, I need to put a garage with my house, and I possibly want to pay off this other large debt that I have, and it increases his cash flow. He can actually take cash out, and by the time we're done, he'll save about $190 a month.
Yeah, don't use
cash out. So,
again, we always advise don't use your house as a piggy bank on that for sure, Lisa, but do it with intelligence.
Right. Well, he's going to be adding a garage too, so obviously you're going to be adding value in addition to paying off that debt. So for him, it's win-win all the way around.
I'm sorry, Lisa.
No, go ahead. No.
Homeowners had an increase of equity. Listen to these numbers. From 2009, it was $6 trillion in equity, and that's when things started to move in the right direction. 2009 started the beginning of maybe the healing process. up to $15 trillion last year in equity alone. Again, folks, if you have some equity there, do the right thing with it. Get rid of the MIP if you have an FHA loan. Switch to a conventional loan. Or if you have PMI on a conventional loan, get rid of it. Improve your cash flow, improve your life.
Yeah.
Or go ahead and consolidate debt. Do the right things with your money. All right, 248-539-9797. A little quiet day on the phones here. If you want to sneak in a phone call, we'll definitely get you right on there. Seller's gains average over the last few years, $57,000. Could you imagine all that equity right there? The roughly 31% return on investment, the ROI, the old ROI, for families that were buying over the last handful of years.
That's huge.
You are sitting on a ton of equity. You probably did the right thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes life is all about timing, and sometimes it's even on a house. We talk about the motivation of how to get your offer accepted, but if your agent's a great communicator, if they've got the energy and the passion like you do, Darcy, you might call a listing agent and say, look, tell me about your seller.
100%.
And I'll tell you, sometimes they'll say, look, here's the deal. They're in the middle of, they don't want to move till this house is done, or their situation is they found a house, whatever their situation is, you have to find that motivation out.
Yes.
And again, if your agent's good enough, if you're not shy, if they're willing to call and make those extra calls, that's how deals happen. That's how your family really benefits.
Sometimes a good agent will suggest that they write a letter to the homeowner.
Right. You want to appeal to
want to appeal to their, right. This might be the perfect home for my family, my children. And sometimes those offers get accepted. They might not be the highest. It could be close.
It's true.
But
what's happening even in this market, because the homes aren't even for sale, is those letters are being used to say, hey, if you ever go for sale, which is very old school.
Right.
But it is happening. I've heard of two.
Here's a question. Are people still doing backup offers?
Yes.
Is that
and because they are, in fact, the last two that we didn't get that was offered, do you want to stay on as a backup? Of course, because people get to the last moment and they change their mind, or maybe the inspection wasn't great, but
something happens and they lose their job, or
they don't get their funding doesn't come through at the end because they, so lots of things happen. So absolutely.
So people ask me all the time, is it a waste of time? And I always tell them, absolutely not. You never know.
Because you're still free to go make other offers, but at least you still have your hand in one pot.
Yep.
So that's great. And it's still fun to hear, and you get that call and say, actually, you did get it. And, okay, let's leave. We're stopping now. We're not going to go look. So that's really good. It's still a good market, though.
Absolutely.
Even though there's just not a ton of inventory. So if you're thinking of selling your house, this is a great time to list it because you have tons of buyers.
Yeah, the inventory is down to something like just over 2 months of inventory left on the marketplace in certain areas.
So
it's going to be 20 multiple offers and that same deal.
If you've been on the fence about selling your home, and you want top dollar, you need to. This is when you should be listing it.
But Darcy, where do we go? I finally sold my house. Great. I decided I'm going to move. I'm going to get top dollar, but I'll still put language in there that says, I'm going to accept your offer, Mr. Buyer. I'm selling my house.
Yes.
But I'm going to accept it, and I can put a little addendum contingency that says, look, I'm going to sign this contingency. It's part of our purchase agreement. It says, I'm accepting your offer, but it's contingent upon me finding a house, let's say, in the next 60 days.
Absolutely.
At least that family knows they got this house. They can even move forward and make other offers and decide if that new house or if they want to come back to this offer.
There is still inventory to find. Remember, you're selling yours for higher, so you might be spending a little more on yours, but it's okay. You still got enough. And I'm sort of the minority, but there is value in owning your home, of course, but you also live there. You get to enjoy every moment of it. So don't be so upset if you have to spend a little, like 10 grand more than you thought you would. Because like Lisa says, it's not that much more in your payment. You spent a little more and it's your home.
This is your home, right?
Your haven. So yes, it's definitely, I would say there's still something to be found. We actually, in Michigan, we say there's such great things. Lots of out-of-town buyers are coming.
That's true.
Which is so funny lately. People want to live here. It's
Absolutely.
It's a great place to be. So really, if you're thinking of selling, you have even the out-of-town market coming. So if school's out in a couple more weeks. So I feel like that's when people like to, let their kids finish out the school year and then get rocking.
Hey, we got some vacation home opportunities too across Southeast Michigan, whether you want to be down here or move up north. Again, second homes are fantastic. You can purchase a second home or vacation home with just 10% down.
Yep. Wow.
That's 10%. To know that. Fannie and Freddie are talking about making it a little bit more costly. If you didn't catch wind on that,
I did.
They're thinking about putting some loan level pricing adjustments on there. Just make it a little bit more expensive.
The rate might be a smidge more than it used to be.
Or maybe the cost could just be a little bit more, but still just as little as 10% down on your second home. And how about Michigan with the best places to live? Let me just list a few of them here. I'll go backwards here. Coming in at number 10, Berkeley, and I'll move upwards. Troy, Ionia, Clawson, Owasso, Monroe, New Baltimore. Wow, New Baltimore's making the list now. That's up your way.
Yes.
Rochester, always a hot area. Birmingham, and of course, South Lyon.
I believe New Baltimore just put up the Michigan's tallest flagpole.
Oh,
Just in case you wanted some trivia.
A little tidbit.
Wait, we're going to really go into some of these things. But again, what makes these best cities is besides having the world's tallest flagpole,
right.
Also low crime, great schools, distance to major cities, percent of the household with other children, and amenities, local parks and things of that nature. It makes up a really great community.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We do have so many great schools here, too, which is so, it's so easy. Find a great place.
Darcy, there's the music that says we're all done. Wasn't this
Thank
fun?
you so much, you guys. Yes, it was wonderful.
It's always fun to talk mortgages and real estate. And Darcy Matlin, we want to thank you. What is that?
Pepper Park Realty.
I love it. Pepper Park Realty. Again, you could always call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll get you in touch with Darcy and a whole bunch of great agents out there. If you're thinking about buying or selling a house, call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We got Pat Caputo out there. He's coming in with sports and social commentary. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket all day long. For Lisa Lawson, Darcy Matlin, I'm Harvey Freed. We'll see you next Saturday.